there's an illusion that you have safety within someone else paying you. You're actually never more unsafe than when you work for somebody else.
I was like, I don't feel like working for someone anymore. I don't want to deal with this. I could do my own thing. And then as I was working through that, and I had some fear around it, I realized that part of the reason that I have a hard time charging for things and selling things is this idea that when you charge more than people can afford, or when you charge more for something than maybe someone else is, just in general, when you're charging for things and people have to pay, that it's just like really ugly, like you're just like a bad, ugly person. And this is like directly related to stuff I've heard from my mom. And it just finally hit me. So I'm like super triggered right now, and I've got a lot of going on.
Well, I mean, I think it's helpful to kind of organize it like you're kind of doing verbally in a way, which is, there is stuff in distinct areas. And so you want to try to keep them in their own areas, like as far as a series of journaling and different things on one of those areas. And then if stuff comes up in another area, you write it in that section of your journal. But you don't have to journal about everything all at once. That's for sure. And you can't deal with all of it all at once. You need to kind of prioritize what's most impactful or most important in the current situation. But thinking that you're a bad person if you charge people money, right? I mean, that's obviously like a less than. I am less than human. I'm less of a person if I charge people. I mean, I would put it under less than. On the surface, there's exposure around charging, but I mean, it really is kind of pushing you into less than. I'm a bad person because of it. And what's interesting too is it's like more than they can afford, as if has anything to do with you.
Yeah, it totally makes sense when you think about the context of when I heard it. Makes total sense.
Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, I would say that that's just a correction around the specific language around charging people or asking to be paid what you believe you're worth. Because you can't control whether someone thinks something is affordable or not. Now, ripping people off, that's a wholly different thing. Like if you're not able to produce the results that you say you can get, then yeah, that's a problem. But as far as what you charge, that is up to you. And so that's important, especially it's one of the things around starting your own business or venture is kind of, that's one thing you're noticing. There are probably some other things, and you should probably journal more about it, because all that stuff can go into one matrix, which is about, a going out on your own matrix or starting your own business matrix.
Okay. Yeah.
Kind of, or sometimes I call that a next steps matrix about your working life or your career life. And so then you can just take all the like junk that comes up around it and go, okay, all of this junk that I'm scribbling out, I'm going to take the hottest things of this junk and put it in a matrix. And that matrix is going to be about my next steps regarding work.
Okay.
Or my career or whatever else it is.
Because there's definitely some fear around, being able to produce results.
Of course. I mean, there is nothing scarier than going out on your own or putting something out into the world for people to like decide if it works for them or not. Has anybody else had that experience of trying to, 1, 2, 3, Barry, you better raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, like, putting stuff out there. And so that's just really normal. There's nothing more triggering than that. Well, relationship is, but meaning personal relationship. But for most people, the next would be like kind of business or doing something on your own. Because there's an illusion that you have safety within someone else paying you. You're actually never more unsafe than when you work for somebody else. And the whole thing is set up in a way to where you feel safe. Well, look what happens. Oh, I can't make payroll. Oh, the company's, I decided to retire. Whatever it is. I mean, I sent out an email to everybody that's in the private work about profound changes in 2020 is what I entitled it. It's about my personal life and business life and some changes I'm making in 2020. And what the majority of clients said is they were like, when I saw profound changes in 2020, I thought you were just closing up shop. You were just going to be gone. And they were like worried and like it scared some of them. And I'm like, no, it just says there's changes. But it's like, so anyway, it's scary to like put stuff out there and kind of, you're more safe if you build your own thing, but you kind of have to be in the long game. And that
Yeah.
takes a lot of wherewithal. It takes a strong stomach, some arrogance, some stupidity, and a bunch of triggering. And then you kind of roll all that into something that you can actually then build and bank on and have a career around instead of always looking for someone else to pay you because all kinds of goes wrong. You know, but the whole world is geared towards like, oh, there's safety in the fact that you get paid. You know, like I'm buying a new house in Texas, like a retreat type place to go and to live as a primary residence. And, you know, I'm self-employed and I have been for 20 years. And they're like, well, you know, you're self-employed. It's like this big high risk. This is like, I've had mortgages before, but they put you through the ringer because you're not supposed to be able to make money on your own, apparently. So I'm telling you, everything's geared against you, and that's a part of it too, in the thinking about how could I sustain this? What can I do? What can I sell? What can I provide? So anyway, it's a larger issue, but you should definitely start looking at it because I think you need to find something else. Having all that said, all the things you talked about, you want to organize yourself into particular areas and journal about those. And then you got to prioritize.